Have you ever experienced this weird moment? You are lying in bed, it is 1 o'clock in the morning, the light from your phone screen is hitting your eyes, and you press the buy button. In that exact second, you feel a little high. A small hit of dopamine. Your brain tells you that this new thing is exactly what you were missing to be happy. But what happens when morning comes? Or even worse, what happens at the end of the month when you look at your bank account and do not understand where $500 or $1,000 disappeared to? We have all been there. We were taught how to earn money, but nobody taught us how to protect it from the ultimate enemy. This enemy is not inflation, it is not the tax man, and it is not even a recession. This enemy is staring at you in the mirror. Impulse buying is the silent killer of your wealth. It steals your future, $50 at a time. Today, we are not just going to talk about saving pennies. We are going to crack the psychological code that keeps you broke. I am going to give you one ironclad rule that I have been using for 15 years. It has saved me tens of thousands of dollars. And if you apply it in the year 2026, you will be shocked at how fast your net worth starts to grow. Let's look the truth in the eye. We live in an era of aggressive digital marketing. Corporations know more about you than you know about yourself. They hire the best psychologists and neurobiologists to force you to open your wallet. Have you noticed how an ad on Instagram offers you sneakers exactly when you feel tired or stressed? That is not a coincidence. Those are algorithms. Today, in the year 2026, clicking the pay button has become too easy. You do not even need to take out your card. Face ID, 2 clicks, and the money is gone. This lack of the pain of paying creates an illusion that money is infinite. But the reality is that 70% of people live paycheck to paycheck, not because they earn too little, but because they do not control their emotional spending. If you want to escape this rat race, you need a circuit breaker. You need a system. Before I reveal the mechanics of the rule, you have to understand what is happening inside your head. When you see something you want to buy, a new gadget, branded clothes, or even an expensive watch, your brain shifts into what we call a hot state. The limbic system, which is responsible for emotions, starts screaming, "I want this immediately." In this moment, your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for logic, planning, and the future, basically shuts down. You become like a kid in a candy store. Marketers know this. They create artificial scarcity. They write, "Only 2 items left," or "Discount ends in 3 hours." This is all manipulation to stop your logic from waking up. The 24-hour rule is a tool to forcibly cool down your brain. It is a pause between the stimulus and the reaction. So, how does it work in practice? The rule is incredibly simple, but it demands iron discipline. Every time you want to buy something that is not vital, meaning it is not food, medicine, or utilities, you are obligated to wait exactly 24 hours. Not 5 minutes, not an hour, but a full day. If you are in a store, put the item back on the shelf and walk out. If you are online, add the item to the cart, but close the tab. Do not buy. Just wait. What happens during these 24 hours? Your emotional storm calms down, the dopamine levels drop, and logic steps onto the stage. The next morning you will wake up and ask yourself, "Do I really need this?" In 80% of cases you will realize that you do not need it at all. You just wanted the emotion, not the thing. But let's go deeper. I want to give you an advanced technique that I call the life price test. When you are waiting these 24 hours, do one simple math calculation. Convert the price of the item into hours of your life. Let's assume you earn $20 an hour after taxes. You want to buy new headphones for $200? Divide 200 by 20. That is 10 hours of your life. For 10 hours, you sat in an office, tolerated a boss, solved problems, and sat in traffic to get that money. Now look at those headphones and ask yourself, are they worth 10 hours of my life? Am I ready to trade 1.5 workdays for this piece of plastic? Very often the answer will be no. It sobers you up instantly. You start seeing price tags not in dollars, but in slices of your freedom. And that is not all. If the purchase amount is significant, say, more than $500, the 24-hour rule transforms into the 30-day rule. Why? Because big purchases require strategic planning. In 30 days, you have time to check prices with competitors, read reviews, and maybe find a better option, or realize that your old item is still working perfectly fine. I know many people who wanted to buy a new car just because their neighbor bought a new one. They waited 30 days, and the desire vanished. They saved $40,000. $40,000 that could go into investments. Let's talk about the math, because numbers do not lie. Many people think, well, what is the big deal? It is just a coffee for $5 or a subscription for $10. What is the difference? The difference is colossal. In finance, we call this the opportunity cost. Imagine that you applied the 24-hour rule and saved yourself from impulse spending totaling $300 a month. That is a realistic number for the average person. That is unnecessary clothes, gadgets, snacks at the checkout, taking a taxi instead of walking. Now, instead of giving that money to a store, you invest those $300 into the stock market, let's say into an S&P 500 index fund, which historically returns about 10% per year. Listen closely. If you do this for 30 years, those little $300 a month will turn into $678,000. $678,000, almost $750,000. You did not just spend $300 on junk. You burned your wealth. Every time you buy something useless, you are stealing millions from yourself in the future. Compound interest only works when you give it fuel. Your saved money is that fuel. The 24-hour rule is not about restriction. It is about reallocating resources from temporary pleasure to eternal freedom. Of course, as your mentor, I have to warn you about the pitfalls. There are situations where this rule should not be applied. Do not wait 24 hours if it concerns your health, safety, or education. If you have a toothache, you go to the doctor immediately. If you need a book or a course that will improve your skills and help you earn more, buy it. That is an investment in yourself, and it always pays off. Also, do not turn into a miser. The goal of financial literacy is not to live in a cave and save every penny, but to spend consciously. Spend generously on what truly brings you long-term joy, and ruthlessly cut costs on what society has imposed on you. Another risk is the so-called reward for good behavior. Some people hold on for a month, save money, and then snap and buy something very expensive, justifying it by saying, "I deserve this." That is a trap. To avoid this, allocate a separate category in your budget, which we will call fun money. This can be 5 or 10% of your income. You can spend this money on any nonsense without a guilty conscience. But as soon as this limit is reached, that is it. The register is closed until next month. This gives your brain the necessary release, but keeps the overall system under control. Friends, we are approaching the finish line, and I want you to remember one thing. Wealth is not how much money you earn. I know people who earn $500,000 a year and are bankrupt because they spend $501,000. Wealth is how much money you keep and multiply. It is a boring daily discipline. The 24-hour rule is your shield. It is your weapon against a world that wants to take everything from you. Start today. The next time your hand reaches for your wallet, tell yourself, "Stop 24 hours." Feel that power over your desires. That feeling is better than any purchase. You are building a foundation for your family, for your freedom. Do not let emotions run your life. If this approach resonates with you and you want to know exactly where to invest the money you save thanks to this rule, make sure to subscribe to the channel. In the next video, we will break down the 3 best dividend companies that pay you just for owning their stock. Do not miss it. Your path to capital is just beginning. See you at the top.